Okay, so yay! Thank you guys for getting on this call. I know it's hard every week for all of us to get on here, but I'm glad you guys did. So one thing I want to make sure to point out in the beginning of this is while Amy is sharing with us, if you guys have any questions for her or for me, there is the chat feature on the bottom of the screen, and you guys can ask the question there. So you can ask it to the group, to Amy directly, to me, and I can ask her. So please use that. That chat feature is awesome. I love it. Hold on, we've got a couple more joining us. So let me mute them real quick. Oh, look, they're so smart and they muted themselves. Okay, so this is Amy Triplett. I'm so excited she joined us. She is a mom of 3. I was hoping I counted it right. And
Yes.
there weren't kids missing from the picture that I was talking and a wife and a new Emerald Ambassador. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But I wanted her to join us just to kind of let us know how on earth to be successful in this company when life is crazy. Because when you have 3 kids, nothing stops. There's no downtime to work this. You got to figure it out despite all that craziness. So, Amy, I am going to let you take it away.
Sure. Thanks. Hi, Kendall. Thank you so much. This is exciting. It's so funny because I always ask people to do my calls, too. So to actually be the guest on someone's call is so funny to me, but exciting. So I'm really glad to be here. Yes, I would tell you the truth. Like, busy people tend to be the ones to get things done. You probably found that as well, too. But I figured I would just kind of share my story with you guys and then just give you 4 quick tips that help me, I think, do well. I've been very successful. I think anybody who is committed and passionate is successful. So I'll just kind of give you some of my background. And Corey is going to just make me laugh. I can tell. I already going to tell him I can't look at him. Okay. So I was just talking to, I think it was Rena, and said that this is my second year. So March 1st is when I usually say that I started. It was really February 28th. But so it's been 2 years. And just to give you a little background of what my life was like before Plexus, I'll just give you a little bit of history. So I was kind of in a place, she said I had 3 kids. So as you know, kids, you're tired, and all that. But it kind of seemed like everything sort of came crashing down probably in 2012, 2013. We downsized. This was a blessing, actually. I was a teacher, and then we decided I wanted to be home. When I had my 3rd baby, I wanted to be home with her, with all of my kids. But I decided we're going to downsize so we can stay home and I could be home with them. So we did that. And sorry, my husband's making funny faces. I told him I tried to come in the other room so that he's not in here while I do calls because he makes fun of me. But anyway, so I was a teacher and we decided to downsize. So we moved into a 600 square foot mobile home that somebody gave us. And it was 2 bedroom. It was, like how I say that, it is. We still live here and I'll explain that later. But we moved here, and right around that same time, my husband actually lost his position at his work. So then it became out of pure necessity. So we actually made $18,000 as a family of 5 in 2013. So that was hard, obviously. Well, I also had just lost my father unexpectedly. We were extremely close. So I don't know if you ever lost anyone close to you before, but it's grieving, but I think it also turned into depression. It just was really shocking and just awful. So we were struggling financially. I was grieving. And then the weight, like I probably gained 30 pounds from losing my father in 2012 until when I started Plexus in 2014. So I'm just miserable. We even switched churches. I love to sing. I was in the choir. My husband decided we needed to switch churches, and we weren't agreeing on that. So our marriage was, it was just like everything you think of. Like, it was just a hard time. On top of that, I got to a place where I was so severely addicted to sugar, and maybe part of this was depression. But I used to be bubbly and fun and lots of, I used to, you love that side of yourself when you're in college and high school. And then I became this tired, overweight, grumpy mom. I was homeschooling my kids. They wanted to go for walks. I didn't want to. I just felt awful all the time. I would eat just dessert, if you saw my Facebook page back then, you probably would know I was grieving because I'm very open about everything. But of course, you're only going to share the happy memories. So I would post the cute crafts we made for homeschooling and all that. But I would never post where I'm on the couch with pillows on my head crying because of my severe migraines. I was getting to a point where I had migraines 2 or 3 times a week. I didn't like myself anymore. I just basically wore sweatpants and t-shirts. I stopped wearing makeup. Like, if you guys go to my Facebook page, I posted my very first Plexus video. And I did that, like, I went to look for it as a training for my team just to encourage them to make videos. And I hadn't seen that video, I think, ever since I made it. And I just sat there and cried. It's like, I barely recognized that girl. Like, I was so miserable. Like, just, and I didn't even think I realized I was that miserable at that point, but I didn't care anymore. You know, I don't know if you ever get trapped in Momville, but it's just everything, the finances, just the way we're eating affects everything. I got to a place where I don't know if I said this already, but I only ate dessert. I tried to feed my kids healthy enough, except for when we go to McDonald's like 3 times a week, even though we were poor. But that's just who I was, just all that to kind of give you a picture of where I was. But the thing that makes me so sad is I don't think many people knew that, because I like to smile, I like to be bubbly, like I said, I like to share the happy parts. And we did have happy time. I do have a great husband. I have wonderful kids. Like, you know, we have the Lord. So I wasn't like, you know, I always had that, of course. And those were the kinds of things I'd try to show. So it makes me like wonder, like, who else is out there that really needs what we have, but we don't even realize that. Because my friend that I was watching on Facebook, she had no idea. But anyway, my college roommate, Amber Livesey, her name is. Does anybody know Amber? She's from Texas. I don't know where you guys are from. But Amber, I just watched, and she started sharing on Facebook about Plexus. And she was at that point one of the only people I saw. So she was so funny about it, and I was so happy for her. I never, ever got annoyed because she lost 50 pounds. She was a customer before she started to sell it. So I saw these pictures. She lost 50. Like I told you, I found her 50. I was feeling miserable. And she's constantly like, you know, so happy and energetic. And I'm just like, man, she looks great. And she seems like she's doing great. So I'm liking everything. And I'm so proud of her. And then one day she sends me that message. She's like, hey, you know, I said that you're liking my post. Did you want information? And that's when I was like, okay, no, thank you. I thought, okay, I'm really happy for you, but no way. If I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to diet and exercise. So even if I had the money, which I don't, I would never pay money to lose weight. No, thank you. And so that was my thoughts on it. And she was like, okay, no problem. Well, that was around October. So, of course, Halloween, which I don't even celebrate, but I find a way to find candy, of course. And then Thanksgiving and Christmas, I gained another probably 10 pounds or so. And she, again, was looking great all through the holidays. And now I'm really watching these products, and I'm like, man, because now I'm seeing that even like mutual friends, and she's sharing text messages, and she's like, oh my goodness, Amber, I lost 6 pounds this week. And I'm seeing all this stuff, and I know these people, and I'm like, okay. So I start telling my husband, like, I just want to try this. And he's like, are you kidding me? We can't afford groceries. No way. No. And so I'm like, what? Another thing she did not know, she didn't know how severely we were struggling financially. So I felt kind of guilty in a way that I stepped down from teaching, but kind of not, because I could have. Like, if I really wanted to, I could have gone back to teaching, but I really wanted to be home with my kids, and I thought that was more important. I still do. I don't regret that. We were fed. We had a roof over our heads. I wanted to be the main influence on them. So, but I was tutoring. I was doing homeschool evaluations. I was homeschooling my kids. I was doing everything I could do to make any kind of income. I actually do the elections. Like, I'm actually working this Tuesday just because I've been doing it ever since then. And it's just, you know, $200 for one day. Why not? So I would do little things like that. I never wanted to babysit, and I never wanted to clean people's houses just because I could barely function on my own house cleaning and kids. So, but anyway, I was always kind of looking for extra money. Well, network marketing was never, ever a consideration, just because I didn't think it was a scam, but I didn't think it was anything for real. Like, I just thought you join these things just to get some free products maybe. I didn't think anyone actually made money, If they did, I thought it was maybe like a paid actor or like some, who nobody knows who they actually are. I never considered this as anything for real, especially because you had to pay to get in, even though obviously it's so brilliant. But I didn't realize, I didn't know any of that at the time. Never, ever did network marketing. But again, I'm searching these products. I'm going to Google and I'm writing like, people who died from Plexus and fears of Plexus. Like, that's my research. I'm trying to find everything bad that I can, and I couldn't. Like, there were some weirdos out there that, you know, were just bitter about something. You know what I mean? Like, I knew that you could tell when somebody's crazy or not. So there was nothing that really stood out to me that would be dangerous. And I actually read something, and it was like, I forget what it was. I don't even know. Something where somebody was comparing health products, and Plexus was like one of the highest ones. So I was like, oh, that's actually good. So anyway, this whole time, my friend she never bothered me again. And I actually took it as she's probably just really busy. Like, she's not ever following up with me. I didn't think of it that way, but I just thought, man, she's not even like pushing me, because I thought she would harass me from then on out. She didn't. So anyway, one day, this was now February, she posts on Facebook, got my Plexus paycheck, and I made enough to pay for my mortgage, my car payment, and my products. Now that got my attention, because I was like, what? No way. She's actually making, what, a mortgage? Like, that's huge. So I actually called her. Like, I picked up the phone. I was like, tell me what you made. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but I will. She said, I made $1,100. And I thought, now remember, we were struggling big time. I couldn't even take my son to go. There was like a pop and play, like, little gym. It was $5. And I remember my husband, who never tells me no, but I remember him telling me, it was a few weeks before, if you take him there, then we're going to, that'll bounce our checking. We had no savings. We had nothing. He was like, that will bounce our account. So we could help dig up some change. But I'm like, I'm not putting dimes and nickels on the counter. So, I mean, we were really struggling financially. But we just got our tax return. So he budgeted, because I literally had nothing that fit me. Out of our tax return, he budgeted $200 for me to go get a haircut, to go get some clothes or whatever I needed. That was just for me, because I don't even know the last time I went shopping before then. So I remember telling him, I really looked in after talking to my friend. I was like, listen. And he was like, no way. First of all, he said, are you kidding me? No, no, you're not doing that. But when I got that money, I was like, I don't care about $200. That's not going to make or break us. Like, we're poor anyway. I can go spend this on an outfit that I'm going to outgrow in a month. So I don't care. Please let me do this. And I remember thinking, like, if she can do this, that means it's possible. That was all I needed to know. I knew that my friend lost 50 pounds. I knew she made $1,100. That is literally all I knew, and that's all I cared about. So I knew from the beginning, if she can do it, that means it can be done, and I will figure it out. So, and I also said to him, I was like, listen, even if I make $200 a month, I'm not going to make $1,100. I thought that was crazy. I was like, I'm not going to make that. But what if I make $200 a month? I mean, that's huge. I wasn't going to try it as a customer first, because I already researched enough and a bunch of my friends were doing it. Like, I figured, like, that it would work. I knew it would work. I figured it would, but I was afraid I couldn't afford it each month. So I wasn't going to, like, I wanted to join right away. And I said, you know what, even if I could just make enough for my products, that's enough. And if I don't make that money, then I won't keep doing it. You know, that was kind of my way to convince him. I also told him all she did was post on Facebook, so he didn't quite know what I was getting into, but, you know, needless to say, I'm making this super long. I'm sorry I'm going into so much detail, but I just kind of wanted to give you the full picture, though, because I just feel like it's such a story of hope. Like, anybody can do this, because I've never done this before. So he said, yes, fine. If you want to use it for that, go ahead. But, you know, I can't have anything else. He's like, that's all you, like, seriously, that's what we have. And you guys know, I ended up getting the smaller package because he made me, but he didn't tell me he was going to do it with me. And so I actually had to, you know, I tell people all the time, get the $199 pack, because if there's two of you doing, you're going to have to, you know, get more later. Anyway, but she didn't tell me all that, so I didn't know. So I got the 99 pack, so I spent my $143, and I made my money back in 2 days. I think I went silver within my first 5 days. And all I did, I'm going to give you my 4 tips of how I think I did well business-wise. But all I did in the beginning, before I ever even got my welcome pack, I think it was the night I joined, I just shared my story. I made that really sad video that I told you guys about. And I just put myself out there. I'm just open anyway, but I just put myself out there, and I basically said, she lost 50 pounds. She made some money. I am miserable. I'm so tired of feeling this way. I miss, like, being a human being. Like, I miss being a mom. I'm a person, rather, you know, I'm just love my babies, but I'm not even energetic for them. In that video I told you I made, I was, like, literally sitting there in my sweatpants, no makeup, hair on top of my head, and I was just like, I just feel worthless, you know. It's like I need a change, and this is what I'm hoping for. So I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna work, but who wants to do this with me? I'd really love to not do this alone. And I had people message me that night, and I mean, I didn't have to like ask anyone for probably a good month or so, because just by posting on Facebook, and I was one of the first ones in my circles. Like, she was literally the only person I knew doing it, besides some college friends that but I lived different places. Like, I had a big network anyway. I already had like 900 Facebook friends. So I just had already, a big network. So anyway, people just started asking me about it. I had no clue what I was doing at all. But when they would message me something, I would literally copy and paste it, and I would put in one of the team pages I was in, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? And like, that's what I did. So just to give you like health-wise testimony, my first day, it was amazing. I stopped craving sugar like right away. I had energy right away. So every time I felt something, I was like, oh my goodness, stuff really works. I didn't have any sugar today. What in the world? What is in this stuff? I didn't even know it was natural. I didn't care. I didn't care anything. I just felt good. Then when I slept through the night for the first time, like, I just tried to be as genuine and real as possible, and with my own story. And I really feel like that helped me, in the long run. And it wasn't necessarily on purpose, but I just feel like I even put my weight out there, and I lost 8 pounds my first week. I lost 17 pounds my first 3 months. So once the products really worked, obviously, then it was like, oh my goodness, this stuff's amazing. Everybody has to do that. So that passion just kind of caught on. And so, okay, so let me tell you my 4 little tips, and then if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to help you out. I see a chat. Is there anything? Okay, it just says whoop whoop. Good. Okay, so here's what I did. First of all, let me say this. I had a friend who did Beachbody. I didn't even know she did Beachbody, but she did. And so when I joined Plexus, she had never told me anything about Beachbody. I didn't even know what it was. But she said to me, hey, this is like 2 days, I think, after I joined, after I put my video out there. She's like, I know we're technically competitors, but I want to give you something that really helped me. And she gave me, it's called the Dani Johnson. Anybody ever hear of Dani Johnson? Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Oh, she's the okay, we're gonna get, that's a whole nother topic. But she said, this is a 30-day boot camp for network marketing, basically. It's a lady named Dani Johnson. And she's like, this really helped me with my business. So it was free. As a lady I trusted, and I was like, we're competitors? What the heck do you do? We had no idea. But she's a Beachbody coach, and she's actually what we would consider diamond in Flex, whatever Beachbody's top. She's a top thing in her company. And so I was like, okay, so I'll bring that back into the story in a minute. But I will tell you that 30-day boot camp really helped me, because I didn't know this was good at the time. I had no idea. But now that I have a huge team, I realize if anybody does this, I get excited. But I had 11 people on my team my first month, and I had, that's funny. Okay, I had 11 ambassadors, and I had about 1,200 PV my first month. I had no idea that was good, but it is good. I'd be thrilled to have somebody do that. And I have some now, but I had no idea what Fast Start was. And let me just say, when my friend, she joined in like October, and so I joined February. So she was kind of new herself, and she also had just gotten engaged. She's a phenomenal leader. She's about to be diamond probably this month, and I love her. She's amazing. But I think my first year, I'm just very motivated, so I didn't need her necessarily, like she didn't tell me. She was learning too. She didn't know what to tell me, so I didn't know anything about Fast Start. I wish I would have, because I think I could have done it. Anyway, so here's my 4 things. Number 1 is I trained myself. I was a teacher before. Hold on. No, not right now, baby. I was a teacher before, so I figured to myself, I was like, okay, I got to know how to do this, obviously. So when I was teaching, I didn't just walk into my classroom day one, even though I was super passionate about teaching. I went to school for it, and I actually went to school for 4 years, and I actually paid tons of money to do it. I just viewed this no differently. I took this basically as a career. When she told me she made $1,100, then I quickly found some diamond documentaries. Like, I basically went to YouTube and I found stuff on my own. So another thing is, does anybody know who Alicia McKee is? Is she upper line? Okay, anyone? Okay, so Alicia is I'm her level 4. Well, the day I joined is the day Alicia McKee went diamond. So I didn't know really what that meant, but they put you in a bunch of team pages. I was put into like 5 team pages, and I saw the first thing I saw was like, oh, our leader is Diamond. And I was like, okay, this might be somebody to follow. So I just plugged myself into Alicia's page because even though I'm her, level 4 or whatever. But what I did is I trained myself. So the way I did that, I just set myself a time from 9 to 10 at night. So instead of watching The Bachelor or whatever, like I decided to train myself, and I just told myself, okay, I'm going to read 3 to 4 files a night. I found the files tab. I'm going to watch some Sonia Dudley on YouTube. Like I just trained myself. And I just figured I need to learn. It was so overwhelming in the beginning, but I thought if I learned one new thing every day, I'm good. And I just poured myself. I feel like that's super important. Another part of training myself was that 30-day boot camp that my friend gave me. While I was doing dishes or folding laundry or driving, it's 1-hour sessions every day. And it took me, I think, 6 months to complete the first 30 days. But when I would listen to it, honestly, every single time I listened to that, I either got a new customer or new ambassador. I mean, I'm telling you, this woman is amazing. Day 1, she kicked every excuse, right? Like my mindset was golden because of that boot camp, day 1. So it's called Dani Johnson, Dani. I have a Facebook. I can add you, anybody who wants to. If you just send me a message, I have a group that I usually put my people in. It's kind of like a revolving group. It's just boot camp. It's totally free. She does plug some of her products, so you just ignore that part. I didn't buy anything for like a year. I do love her products. I think they're great, but you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But she does plug them a lot. But anyway, so I listened to that boot camp. That was part of my training, and then I just took 10 minutes and trained myself. Yes, I will, but I won't remember. So send me I might remember, but unless we're friends on Facebook. So the next thing that I did, so training is my first thing. I just make sure you train yourself. The next thing is to reach out to people, obviously, not just Facebook. Like I said, when I was kind of newer, Facebook made it so easy because I had such a constant flow of people right away because I was kind of one of the first ones in my circle. But I would literally go through, and I don't know if this is anything technical, but this is what I did, and I still do sometimes. I would look, how you see who's on Facebook? I would literally send them a message. Hey, dude, I don't know if you see my Plexus post, but I'd love to send you info. Or something you'd be interested in? That was like it. They'd say yes, they'd say no, or they would ignore me. Either way, I didn't let it get to me. If they said, and you'd be shocked at who says yes. Like, I never considered it bothering people. If it did, I didn't know about it nor care. If they told me no, I left them alone. 100% I left them alone. I would try to keep the relationship, but I wouldn't bring Plexus up because I don't want to try to convince somebody who's going to argue with me. You know what I mean? You know how that is. I don't want anybody, if I have to convince them or argue with people, that I'm going to always have to do it to keep them. So my job is just to ask them if they want information. And people who told me no, I would say, okay, keep watching my post in case you change your mind. But if you know anybody else that may be interested, would you send them my way because I send gift cards for referrals? Oh, sure, no problem. Everybody will say yes to that. And then hey, by the way, your kids are so cute. And then I'd build some kind of relationship, and I just keep that relationship going. And if it's somebody I really want on my team, and we ended on a positive note because that was super important, obviously I would never get mad at anyone or be rude to them and be like, forget you. Never. Always keep that relationship first, and always continue to post on their things and notice, I would notice things like someone's talking about headaches and stuff, but they've told me no already. I would post a testimonial about a headache. I know now we got compliance, of course, so be careful. But, this is just the kinds of things I would do. So reaching out to people is huge. I put an email together, and I basically let if you were in my email, which are like 1,000 people, I don't care if you had a business, I don't know what you did, but you got an email from me, and I would just send them to them randomly. People came out of the woodwork, though. They really did. I never have been to a meeting. I'm in Florida. My upline's in Texas. But after about 2 or 3 weeks, I was getting so many people who were asking me. So I was like, I'm going to do my own meeting. And I did. I just did it. Like, I had no clue what I was doing. But I think Alicia on her page had a PowerPoint. So I just went for it. I had 16 people who came to my very first meeting, and I literally called them on the phone and begged. And my whole, I'm probably giving you like the most unofficial stuff. I'm just being serious. This is what I did. And I called, and I was just like, hey, please come to my event. Even if you're not interested, I'm afraid no one's going to come. I need you there. Please promise me you'll be there. I'll have food. Yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Are you coming? Yes. Okay. So that's what I did. People came. I had 16 people come. 9 people joined me, which was crazy. So that is, okay, so step 1, training yourself. Step 2, you want to reach out to people. Step 3, you definitely want to, all about guilting, me too, it works. Step 3 is you want to follow up. That is so key. You'd be shocked at how many people do not follow up. How many people don't follow up with me? Like one time I put on Facebook that I was interested in essential oils, you know. I just was curious about it. I was like, hey, you know, I'd love to know about these oils. Well, of course, 26 people came out of the woodwork that I didn't even know where Facebook to add. Oh, I sell oils. Out of those 26 people, I just picked someone that went to my church, started conversing with her. But I responded to everybody. Thank you so much. I'll look into it. That's basically what I said. Out of those 26 people, nobody followed up with me. Not one person. And I was thinking, whoever follows up with me is getting my sale. Nobody did. Not one. Even the girl that I talked to, I actually spent time talking to her. And for whatever reason, I didn't do it. I forgot about it because, you know, I was busy with Plexus. I'd see her at church sometimes like, oh, yeah, the oils. Never asked me about it again. So eventually I did get them from somebody completely different. So you want to make sure. And that girl followed up. She was really good. She was recently. That's a whole other topic. I love Plexus. Oils are confusing to me. But anyway, so that was that. Like, follow up. And there's special ways to do it. Again, I followed Alicia's page. She has a whole system that I think even Celeste is the one. So, oh yeah, follow up. I'm telling you. So there's so many ways you can do it. The way that I was taught, that I'm not very organized, so I don't always use, but I tell my team, and a lot of them do it, my organized ones, is get one of those little card systems. You know what I'm talking about? And so they would, like, the way they said to do it, and it really works, is to follow up first the 3 days, then after 5 days, and then 7, and then 10, you know? Yes, I will. I actually made a video, so I'll send that video to you if you want, Kendall. But yeah, I just followed up with them, and sometimes follow up is, hey, we've got this flash sale going on today. Are you still interested? Or sometimes it's, I just saw this testimony reminding me of you. Or sometimes it's, congratulations on your husband's promotion. That is so awesome. Sometimes it's nothing to do with Plexus, but they're going to hear from me every 7 to 10 days. Like, if you ever ask me about Plexus, you will hear from me every 7 to 10 days, even if you completely ignore me. After 8 months, one lady in giant caps was like, leave me alone. And I was like, oh, praise Jesus, thank you. No problem. Because I was so like, to me, it's just mechanical, you know. And I did. Once you say no, thank you, leave me alone, then I will. But if you ignore me, you're getting a message. But I've had other people that have ignored me for like 4 or 5 months, and they're like, okay, I'm ready. Thank you so much. And now their life has changed. They're like, thank you so much. So I just focus on those who want it. I need a secretary too. I've done literally so much off the top of my head. But anyway, my real follow. You want to know my real follow-up system? I'm so unorganized, but this works. Again, I would go in my Facebook messages and go back, look at the date, and I would go. This is what I would do at my 9 o'clock hour. I would sit down. I'd watch a few videos. I'd reach out to my few people. And then I would go back into my messages and look at the date and go 7 days back. And just, who do I need to follow up with? Boom, 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 boom. You know, and just like, you know, follow up with whoever. So that was my third thing, is follow up. And then the last thing, which is literally the most important one, and I do not lack in this, is passion. So I'm telling you, build your passion. If you feel like, oh no, I don't know, if this isn't working, or I can't do this, or whatever, I am telling you, you need to go read the testimonies. You need to go watch some diamond documentaries. You need to call your successful upline. Plug in. Like, the fact that you guys are on this call, like, you're so pumped, right? Aren't you ready to go follow up with, like, everybody you know? Like, go to events. If you're not going to go to convention, do whatever it takes. Are you all going to convention? Seriously, do whatever it takes to go to convention. That is not an expense. That is an investment. Good. Because you got to think of it like that. People go to college for 4 years. I went to college for 4 years to be a teacher. I taught for 8 years, and I make 3 or 4 times the amount I make with Plexus in like 2 years. That's crazy. I'm probably going to be Sapphire in April. So and I just turned Emerald in January. So I'm telling you, like, it is an investment. You've got to go to Super Saturday. You've got to see the whole vision. So that, to me, I think, like, yes, sometimes it could be a roller coaster, but my children are going to have, look at that cute little Jennifer, your baby girl, so cute. And I see Sarah's little ones. Like, their future is going to be totally different because of you. Like, our future is completely different. And yes, God could have, God could have answered my prayer in any way. He could have. My husband could have we could have won the lottery. We don't play the lottery. But I'm just saying. But he chose to answer this prayer in the most amazing way, where it's not just me that gets to be affected by it, but like a whole team. I just hit 1,000 people on my team. I can't even believe it. Like, it's 1,000 lives that are changed, for those who want it. Obviously not everyone, but it's up to you. It is literally up to you what you want to do with it, but don't give up. I feel like if it took me 10 years to make even 1/10 of what a diamond makes, then that's still far better than I could ever do even as a teacher. So I love teaching, by the way. I hope I don't sound bad. But I just wanted to be home with my babies. So that is my main things. Follow up, train yourself, follow up. Train yourself, reach out to people, follow up, and build your passion.
Awesome. Well, okay, so I've got to say, I am super excited about your little follow-up system, because I never thought about every 7 to 10 days reaching out to somebody and just talking. Mm-hmm. Like, even if it's not about Plexus, just furthering that relationship.
Oh, yeah. And most of the time, they're going to tell you, because guilt is going to set in. Yeah. Like, if it's something non-Plexus, they'll most likely answer you. Yeah. And then they're going to say, oh, by the way, something about Plexus. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you need to do it, lady.
That's good. I mean, I know my downfall is organization. I am not organized. I know that's most of our downfall. And I am as guilty as the next person of just scrolling through my Messenger app and seeing who have I not talked to in a while. Yeah. So Excel has been my saving grace lately. I've started putting everybody in Excel and dating next to their names. And so, but yes, I definitely want that video of your follow-up system.
I definitely will give it to you, but I will tell you something. Mm-hmm. It is embarrassing. Like, I made that video, like, my videos in the beginning, I don't know what I was thinking or who I guess I assumed nobody was really going to watch them. Mm-hmm. So my hair looks greasy. I mean, it's great. But the content is good. Yes. But I am ridiculous.
We won't hold you to your greasy hair, okay? Well, I did have a quick question. So, like, what does your daily IPA look like? Like, because I'm a homeschooler for kids.
Oh, wow.
But just like, how do you fit all this into your day? What stuff do you make sure that you hit every day to further your business?
Well, it's different now because now my kids are in school. So, except for my little one, she's with me, but she's such a sweetheart. So one thing I do, see my planner. I am not organized either, but I have a planner, and again, I was a teacher, so I make it almost like lesson plans. Like, today it's Sunday, so I sat down and I literally wrote lesson plans for my week. And I know this sounds crazy, especially if someone's not organized, because I'm really not organized either. But I sat down and I make a schedule, like, and that includes dinner. It includes 30 minutes playtime with my daughter. Like, especially when I was homeschooling, I would literally write my schedule, like, from time to time. And I actually posted my schedule in my team page for my team. Like, I'm available for 3-way calls at this time. Yeah. This is my event. This is that. So I kind of just make a schedule, So I would definitely say Sunday nights are the perfect time to do it. Yeah. And I'm going to see, we'll show you where it is. It doesn't look neat. I feel like no one sees it but me. But I even write down, like, who I'm following up with, and even including ambassadors and customers, because that's my downfall. So I don't know if you could see this, but, like, those are my level ones. Can you guys see that? Mm-hmm. Like, that's, like, I just kind of wrote down, okay, this, and when somebody joins, I add them. So on Mondays, these are the group of people I'm reaching out to. Tuesdays, these are the group of people. So I'll have one for, my potentials and for my customers. Okay. So, but I would say the best thing that happened for me, especially if I get overwhelmed, is the 5-3-1. Are you guys familiar with that? Okay, that to me has been so great, because what I have found is I wouldn't do 5-3-1. I would do like 200, 150. Like, I was I would message like 200 people in a day. Well, the problem with that is it's not duplicatable and it can be overwhelming. So I would do that, and then I would go like 4 days and do nothing. So 531 helps you to be consistent. So somebody like me that I'm like, are you kidding me? 531, I could do that in 2 minutes. That to me though, at least that's what I did.
Yeah.
So you do that. If I do that every single day, then I'm not missing a day. And then if I want to do extra, I'll do extra. But when I was homeschooling, I would just fit it in. So like I would actually schedule TV time for my kids or outside time. And while they're playing in the yard, I'm sitting there and I'm working. So I don't know, that to me was huge, is making a schedule.
Yeah.
Another thing is, real quick, my husband is not, he is amazing, but he was not on board for the first probably year and a half. I mean, I shouldn't say it that way. He was skeptical. He was very concerned about the house. I let the house go. That was the one major thing I let go. So I'm like, do I want to do dishes or do I want to do Plexus? Obviously dishes. Never won. So that was not good for him though. And also he'd come home and I'm like, oh good, I have call, da 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 da, and I'd work. But that wasn't good either. So you have to be on the same page. So finally he sat down and we made a family schedule together, and we decided, okay, Tuesday, at this point it was Tuesdays and Wednesdays I was not working. Like that's when, but he knew, but on Mondays, like as long as we were communicating, no matter what that looks like for your family, you've got to be on the same page, because he's not money motivated at all. He could care less. We can live in our 600 square foot home forever. We can live in a grass hut. He doesn't care. He just wants to make sure our family unit is strong, which is good. When I'm like, come on, come on, come on, he's slow and steady wins the race. The thing that changed though for him is when he went to leaders retreat with me. And I was expecting him to like be Mr. Critical, and but it was like he actually really got the vision while we were there, and he's always been praying for a family economy. He thought we'd be farmers. He didn't think we'd be Plexus ambassadors, but he's actually completely on board now, and his last day of work is May 17th. So he's actually going to be home with us full time too, and we get our family economy. So it's neat.
Wow. So
Yeah.
how long did it, I don't know if you remember, but do you know about how long it took you in each rank to get to where you're at now?
Yes. I will also tell you, when I saw Alicia McKee's, she was diamond in 10 months, Alicia was, and which is so crazy, right? And that lady actually promoted like every single month. I've never done network marketing before, but when she made a schedule, like she actually wrote like how many people she sponsored and how many people her team sponsored, and she actually made a chart. So what I did, and again, she was one of the first people I saw Alicia's growth chart. Okay, I looked at it. This is like my first week, and she was a really strong recruiter. So I noticed that she had averaged 7 ambassadors, 7 level 1s a month. So that's what she did. And I mean, some days, one month she did 16, one month she did 3, but her average was 7. And so I thought, okay, that's what I have to do. So I set that expectation for myself, and I did. I personally sponsored 7 or 8 people a month for at least a year. But I was not duplicating. Like I would people would join my team. I would recruit. I still can't help it. I love to recruit. But then when somebody would join, I'd be like, okay, awesome. Here's my team page. Go for it. Fun. And I'm so, people don't always do what you did. And I'm like, wow, why? And then you'd hear like team calls and like, oh, you be your rock star, and people fun. But I didn't have a runner for like a whole year and a half. Now I do, because I've learned a lot of different things. But now I've got like at least 10 really strong runners. So anyway, I always give way too much information, but I turned gold my second month. So I turned gold in April. I joined at like beginning of March. I turned gold in April, senior gold in September, ruby in February, February 2015. I joined in 2014. Senior gold in, ruby in February, senior ruby in May, emerald in the following January. Now I will tell you, I don't know if that seems quick or not quick, but to me, I fully expected to be diamond in 6 months, because I never did this before, and I found though that it's worth it no matter what. Like, to me, each rank was like excruciating really slow. I was just like, where's my runners? And I would push hard for every single promotion. And sometimes God just has lessons to teach us. And I had a lot of personal growth. I still do. That has been my favorite part. Pouring into your leaders is huge. Like when I finally just decided to pour into my runners and stop trying to pull people along who don't really want it, that's really been a game changer. And now I do. And the other thing I did wrong, which I've learned recently, is I was always the one to do everything. I was the one to hold every party, every Zoom call, everything we ever did. If there was an event, I was the only speaker. Nobody had to do anything because I was going to do it. I was the only one doing three-way calls. Well, you can't duplicate that way. But once I started, like, telling others, like, I remember my first online Facebook event, I told two girls that they didn't even know each other, but I put them in a group chat, and I was like, you guys are incredible. You have strong leadership skills. I really, here's the outline. I want you to run a Facebook event for your people. And they did it. And guess what? They did a better job than I did. And then it just kind of caught on, and you realize people are so talented and have different skills and strengths than you do. Now my team, they're doing their own stuff all the time. So I love it. Like now it's like, oh, like I'm still doing it too, but they're doing it too. Like now I have real leaders, which is so great.
Okay, last question, I promise, because I know we're getting 1 minute away from the time I promised we'd get off. Do you have a certain way, like when you have a new person, now that you have kind of learned, you know, you've got to get them started instead of just dumping them in a page, like do you have a specific way that you help get them going instead of information dumping like I'm guilty of?
I do. I actually made a video on this too. The top 6 things you do. But I would say you want to make the money right away. Like you've got to plug them in right away. If you set an expectation, I tell people you need to be silver in 7 days. Like, you know, it sounds scary, but you can do it. So I feel like if you just call them immediately, go over their welcome pack with them when they get it, start doing 3-way calls immediately. So for instance, one of my newest people, I think they joined 2 weeks ago. She joined on a Sunday. So while we were on the phone, I was like, hey, I made up a Zoom link right here. And I was like, okay, hop on this call real quick. I said, just click this link. She didn't know anything about technology, but I was like, click on there. I'm going to walk you through it. We walked through it. She joined. I'm helping her with her website. We're just looking at it. I'm answering her questions and stuff because you could share a screen on here. Mm-hmm. So I did that. And I told her, I said to her, I was like, listen, the best way to learn is to bring people to me try to get 3 or 4 people to talk to me. Think about who you want on your team. Get 3 or 4 people this week to talk to me. She was like, okay. So the next day she called me. She had 2 people at her house. She's like, hey, let's do that computer thing again. So we did. I just hopped on Zoom right there, made a link for her, and one of them joined. The other became her customer. She didn't know anything yet. She didn't know about our compensation plan. She knew nothing. She knew I earned a Lexus, and that's all she cared about at that point. Now, of course, she loves her products and she's learning. And I told her, make sure you're training yourself. And, and we also have something called training time. It's just a small Facebook group that it basically has 14 posts. And so I keep telling my new people, as repetition is huge, like keep repeating yourself, like learn one good skill, like training time. And I need to post about that tomorrow, actually. So I'm like, okay, people, put your people in training time, because that's going to teach them back office information. It's going to teach them product information, how to answer basic questions. So my girl that I said joined, she did it the following day at work. She was like, okay, at 9 o'clock. She at 9 o'clock in the morning. She's like, at noon, can we do that again with my coworker? Yes, no problem. So she did that. I basically closed her first 3 people. Now, eventually, obviously, she's going to, be doing that for her team, and she'll learn that just by plugging in. But that's the thing is you've got to get them to bring their first few people to you and help them with their first Facebook post. And when people write I try to pay attention to my new people, I help them come up with a good Facebook post. And then when someone says, what is it? If I see it and I tell them beforehand, I'm like, okay, put them in a group chat with me. Or ask them, say, hey, I'm still learning, but my friend's been doing this a little bit longer. I want you to hear her story. Like, that's it. And let me do it for you. And once they get their first few people and they make their money, then they're with you forever. Usually. Not always.
Awesome. No, that's a great idea. I'm a huge fan of Zoom, and I know a lot of people are still trying to figure it out, but
Yeah.
I think it's my favorite over three-way calls. Like, I love the face-to-face with people and getting to do it that way. Well, yay! Well, Amy, I am so thankful that you got on here. I mean, I know we all second guess ourselves and if we have anything to offer training wise, but let me tell you, lady, you definitely do. I am super motivated on follow up and on getting organized. And I know some other people on here have been private messaging me during this, like, I'm so convicted. I know what I need to do.
Well, I'll send you my 2 videos that I made. Please ignore the look of me in the first. I did that in April 2014. I didn't know what I was doing. I look ridiculous, but the content is good.
Hey, we've seen you with beautiful hair and makeup tonight, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Well, thank
you. Long way.
Well, I appreciate everything you shared with us tonight. You're so sweet.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Yes. Well, let me stop the recording real quick. Hang on just a second.